Welcome. In this video, we're going to look at how to evaluate expressions. Now, this is a very simple but very important skill that we need to make sure we master. So evaluating expressions, when it gives you an expression, the expressions could be simple, the expressions could be complicated, but it gives us an expression, 2x plus 7, and it tells us for what value of the variable or variables to evaluate that expression. So we're going to see evaluate 2x plus 7 for x equals 3. This just means we're going to substitute 3 into this expression, into this rule. And this rule says we're going to multiply 2 times x and then add 7. So we're going to substitute 2 in for x. We're going to do 2 times 3 and then add 7. Okay, it's very important we recognize that this is multiplication. We're doing 2 times x. When we're substituting 3 in for x, it's not 23. It's 2 times 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 7 is 13. And it's that simple. So let's look at another one. Let's make it a little bit more complicated by adding a few more variables. So let's say we have 4x minus 2y plus z. So here's our expression. And we're going to evaluate it for x equals negative 1, y equals 3, and z equals 12. Now, just because we have more variables doesn't mean it gets more complicated. We're still substituting in negative 1 in for x, 3 in for y, and 12 in for z. So we do 4 times negative 1 minus 2 times 3 plus 12. We substituted negative 1 in for x, we substituted 3 in for y, and we substituted 12 in for z. And now we're just going to simplify. We want to make sure we multiply first. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Minus 2 times 3 is 6, plus 12. Negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10, plus 12 is positive 2. And this positive 2 is just the answer. So let's say we have something else that looks a little bit more complicated. So let's say we have 2x squared minus x divided by x plus y. And we're going to evaluate this for x equals 4 and y equals negative 2. So again, just because this rule or this expression looks a lot more complicated, it's still the same thing. We're going to substitute 4 in for all of our x's, and we're going to substitute negative 2 in for all of our y's. So we're doing 2 times 4 squared. We substituted 4 in for x minus 4. We're dividing it by 4 plus negative 2. And I'm putting them in parentheses. They don't mean anything. The parentheses are just like a little container just showing I'm substituting 4 in for x. So now let's follow the order of operations. So we see a fraction, so we have to do everything in the numerator first, everything in the denominator first, and then do this division at the very end. So 4 squared is 16. So we have 2 times 16 minus 4. Over 4 plus negative 2 is positive 2. And 2 times 16 is 32. So we have 32 minus 4, all divided by 2. And this is going to equal 32 minus 4 is 28. And 28 divided by 2 equals 14. So why don't you try a couple on your own. So let's start with this first one. We're going to do 2x plus y for x equals 7 and y equals negative 1. So press pause, try and solve it on your own, then press play when you're ready to check your work. Okay, so we're going to substitute 7 in for x. So we're doing 2 times 7. Remember, that's 2 times 7. It's 2 times x. So we're doing 2 times 7 and negative 1 in for y plus negative 1. 2 times 7 is 14. 14 plus negative 1 is 13. That's it. Another example. 3x plus 4y minus x plus z for x equals 1, y equals negative 2, and z equals 0. So press pause, try this one on your own, then press play when you're ready to check your work. So we're substituting 1 in for all of my x's, or all of our x's. So we substitute 1 in for x, we're doing 3 times 1. We're substituting negative 2 in for y, so we're doing plus 4 times negative 2, minus x, x is still 1, and plus 0 for z. 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, minus 1, plus 0. 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5, minus 1 is negative 6, plus 0 is still negative 6. So our answer is negative 6. It's not x equals negative 6, it's not y equals negative 6, or z equals negative 6, it's just a number, negative 6. Here's our rule, here's our expression. We're substituting these numbers in, doing our operations, and we're getting out a number. All right, in our last example, let's say we have x plus 3 over 4 minus x divided by 5. And we're going to evaluate this for x equals 5. So press pause. Okay, so we're going to substitute 5 in for all of our x's again. So we have 5 plus 3. We're dividing that quantity by 4 minus 5 divided by 5. So when we have a fraction, we need to do the numerator first. So 5 plus 3 is 8. So we have 8 divided by 4, which is 2. 5 divided by 5, which is 1. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So that's it. This is how we evaluate expressions. So if you need more examples, still refer back to your textbook or some of the online resources provided on the homework hotline.